Hi, it's Lauren Ashley, and welcome back to my channel. I've been inactive lately due to several personal issues, and one of them I'll be explaining right now. As you can tell by the title, I was in a relationship, and I've been in it for about 2 years, and this guy never really wanted to make it public, because when I'm in a relationship, everyone knows I'm in a relationship. I post about him a lot because I just feel proud of that person and I want them to know and not feel bad, because if you don't ever post about someone you're in a relationship with, in my eyes it feels like you're ashamed of that person, and I always want someone to feel special and never to feel like they're not worth anything. That being said, I never know how to describe how or what I do for work. I'm an online influencer. It's always a different answer I give someone when someone asks me, what do I do? What's my job? But it always usually is, I post pictures and sets of me in cosplay, and I just do a bunch of nerd stuff and go to cons, and that's how I make money. And I don't know, people get it twisted, I guess. I make outfits a lot. I style wigs, and I have a prop maker that helps me out with stuff because I don't know how to make props. And my alleged boyfriend, or whatever he was ashamed that I did that. He said it wasn't a real job, but I was getting coin, so if you get money for something you do, that's a job. And if someone tells you it's not, they are not smart, they're not educated, they're not adjusting to this new world that we are in, and that's sad. Tell them to get some help. He would treat me terribly often. Usually if you're in a toxic relationship, the signs aren't very clear at first. After a while of being in a toxic relationship, you start to understand and you start to realize, oh no. And what should have been the breaking point for me of finally leaving this guy the breaking point should have been when I found out he cheated on me. There's no excuse for cheating. My last relationship before the one I was in, he convinced me I cheated because this guy was hitting on me so hard. I actually thought I cheated on this guy. I've never cheated on anyone. This guy convinced me that I cheated on him because a guy that liked me was hitting on me, and me not doing whatever. I don't know what I could have done, but I guess that made me cheated. That makes me a cheater, so there's that. But that wasn't the reason why I left him. So I have 3 beautiful cats. I love them more than anything. If you hurt them, I will kill you. And I'm not a violent woman. I'm against violence completely, but I love my cats more than anything. And one day when we hooked up, I got up and he was laying on my bed still, and I was like, I'm gonna go get some groceries because I was out of food. And he was still kind of sleeping, so I said, hey, I'll be back, and if you leave, don't forget to lock the door. And I was gone for about a little over an hour. When I got back, my door was wide open. I live in a condo, and I have a door. There's 2 doors to get inside my building. One for the whole building where everyone is in, and then the second one for my individual home of mine. And that door was open, and 2 of my cats were missing, and it took me 10 minutes too long to find them. And when I did find them, they were both shaking and terrified, and they were probably out of my home for about over an hour. Like, as I guarantee, as soon as I left, he left. And that was my breaking point. When I first saw my door open, I was immediately shocked. I called him up and I'm like, hey, my door's open. What the fuck? He said, oh, okay. Like, he just acted like he didn't do it. And I'm like, you were just here. And so he hung up on me and he's like, I'm busy. And I'm like, okay. And then, so, as a previous video I made, you guys know someone broke into my home. Menma! You stop that. Menma! Someone broke into my home before. So my first, reaction besides calling him, I kind of slowly opened my door more open. And I was like, hello? Because I thought someone officially, broke into my home and left it open. And I was, having a mini heart attack. And when I was slowly opening my door, one of my cats greeted me, Rocket. My other cats, Menma and Murkrow, were not inside my, condo. So I close my door and I wander through my whole condo complex and I end up finding both of them on the bottom floor, shaking. And as soon as I found them, I both put them in and then I shut my door like I always do. And I got the rest of my groceries. Then I called him and I said, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I didn't even tell him that my cats got out because of him and they were missing. And he said, call me back when you can be reasonable, and then hung up on me. That was my breaking point where I was like, yeah, fuck this guy. So, I really don't want to be in a relationship anymore. I don't want to get attached to anyone, and there's a lot that happened that I don't think I should publicly say that, but I'll tell you, the stuff that, how do I say this? I'll tell you the stuff that I feel like I wouldn't get in legal trouble, I guess. Well, when he hung up on me when I told him that I am done with all this, he called me the next morning and I was on the road and I saw he was calling me and I hung up and went to his contacts to block him and he texted me, "Wanna get breakfast?" I blocked him. I made it clear on the phone call that I made about yesterday. By the way, this happened months ago. I'm talking about yesterday when he broke it, when he left my door open and my cats got out. So the next day he called me and I blocked him after that, and I made it pretty clear, hey, I'm done. A few weeks later from that point, there was this one night. It was around 9 p.m. and someone was buzzing in my door, and I had a mini heart attack that it was him. I never buzzed someone in because I was too scared to check. Just ignored it. But they buzzed 4 times and I was scared. And it was 9 p.m. so it couldn't have been mail or anything. And then a few more weeks after that point, I got a buzz at 12 p.m. I think. Yeah. And I just assumed it was mail because I'm always expecting mail. So I just assume I have mail coming in. So I let them in. I open the door and I see it's him, and my immediate reaction was to slam the door. I was so fucking scared. And while I'm trying to slam the door, he's pushing his way in. He's trying to get into my home, pushing his way in. And the only way I end up getting my door completely shut was that I have 2 locks, one for the doorknob and then the other one for as my door closed, but I couldn't lock the doorknob because he had it he kept trying to get in, and the only way I was able to close it was the top lock. And I run into my room. I call my friend Xfinity. I call her. She didn't answer. I'm like freaking out. Then my next thing to do was I called my friend Danny. She didn't answer. And apparently she was upset that I called her without letting her know I was going to call her, so I won't like disrespect her anymore and call her. But they both live in Texas, so but they used to be in Michigan and we used to be pretty close, so I thought I could like talk to them and say like what I should do. And my next reaction was to call the police, and I have a police officer come over and they asked me all the questions about what happened, and they asked me what would have been a reason why he pushed his way in and would trying to get in. And I told them probably sex. That's all he wanted from me. He would always, even when I didn't want it, he would always try to do stuff, and it was not okay. It was terrible, okay. And so I told him that, and they're like, and then I gave them his phone number because they asked, and they're like, do you feel comfortable for us to call them? And I'm like, yes, as long as it's not me calling him. And they called him, and he actually answered, and his alleged reason for trying to push his way inside my home was because his sweatshirt, his robe, and his $15 Uber card were in my home. So, I tried to break up with this guy in the past, like, a lot. And I would always, like, put his clothes that he just assumed that had to be at my place in a bag, and I'd give it to him, and he said, no, I don't want them. And I'm like, but, like, what do you want me to do with them? And he's like, throw them away for all I care. And I told the police officer that's what he said to me in the past. But I also had his stuff already in a bag, the stuff that he demanded in a bag. And I was actually, a few days ago before that happened, was talking to a friend that works with him, that if she knew where he lives, so that she could drop off the clothes so I would have not had them anymore, because I didn't want to just throw them away because they're like clothes and that's wasteful. So that was his reason. So, and the police officer was like, I feel like she was definitely on my side about it. Like, she thought it was kind of uncomfortable. Like, yeah, you tried to push your way inside this girl's home for these items. Doesn't really make sense. And she thought so too. I've tried to make this video like before, and it's why I've been like super inactive. When I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a YouTube and I'm gonna be a YouTuber, and I've been inactive because I keep trying to make this story, and I don't want to be like a scrub that like cries on YouTube. And I've been super emotional. I think it's been like a long while to where I can like do this with like not being too emotional, hopefully, so far in this video. Other things that happened that it's the reason why I should have left him, like super toxic stuff that should have been like a huge red flag to me, but I just stayed with him anyways. I do not want to get like, I'm gonna be super vague with this stuff, sorry, but like I don't want like people to know about this, but something happened to me that was very life-changing that I've only told a few close friends, and I will never be okay with in my life, and I'm scarred for life, I guess, from this situation that happened. And my first reaction to this is I tried to break up with him when this happened, and I ended up telling him for some fucking reason. Don't know why I told him. And a few weeks after I told him, he would make serious remarks saying this thing that happened to me he would want to do, and I'd be like, why would I want to do that? And he would also say, like, I liked what happened and how I wanted what happened to me when I did not want that at all. He was an alcoholic. He would drink every day, and my friend that works with him, that I wanted to have her give him the clothes because I thought she knew where he lived, she told me that he got fired because drinking on the job, which I already knew he drank on the job. He literally drank daily, but he got caught, so he got fired. He would say some things that would hurt my self-esteem, and it still does. He would always like make jokes that I'm pregnant because I gained a little weight, and he'd be like, "Oh, you're pregnant," and I'm like, please don't say that. I'm really not. I'm not pregnant. My workout friend, when he worked there, he would always like talk with her, and one day she was like saying, because she's my gym buddy, we go to the gym together, she told him that she wasn't happy with her body, so she wants to go to the gym more. And my ex's response was, take Lauren to the gym with you. I'm not happy with her body either. And that's fucked up. And he would always make remarks on, he would call me names a lot. He said he was joking, but sometimes he would like call me ugly, and I would always be like, you never like compliment me, and I think that's really weird. And he says I get enough compliments on the internet, so I didn't need any from him. And I would always be like, do you even think I'm pretty? And he would respond with, I don't date ugly or fat people. Thought that was pretty fucked up, I guess. Also, I won't mention his name, and I've never made like our relationship public because he didn't want that. He was embarrassed of me to an extent, but I won't say his name because I think he would thrive on attention, to be honest. There's a lot that happened involving him that I honestly don't know which parts I should talk about and which I shouldn't, because I don't want to explain too much or go too far into what happened, but I feel like this part would be like okay to say. But he's hit me before, he's slapped me, and I cried, and he said, I thought you would like it. And he did it again, and I didn't know when he did it the second time, I was like, that's like when I finally realized that I was in like a toxic relationship. I was like, oh no, like I can't leave, I'm terrified. And I knew I wanted to leave for the longest time, and it's really hard to leave. Like, just ask anyone. You see people in these like toxic relationships, like, why don't you just leave them? And it's honestly it's easier said than done. Like, I've personally been in a few in my past. I've been with compulsive liars, abusive men, excessive cheating. I've been through it all, I guess. And now I've been through a toxic relationship. And the people that he cheated on with, he fell asleep, and I had his phone, and I saw he got a text message, and I was like, oh, and he was talking to all these girls about meeting up, spending the night. he would message this one girl that when we first went on like our third date, we went to like this hot tub thing, and this girl was staring at us the whole time. And when we went into bathrooms to change, she followed him into the bathroom and done who knows what. And as soon as that happened, I told him I don't feel comfortable with her. If you want to date me. And he said, yeah, of course, she's stupid anyways. Yet he met up with her, according to their text, like weekly or something, and he would text her all the time, calling her names like beautiful, but calling me names like ugly. He would be texting his neighbor. He texted her apparently on Valentine's Day saying he loves her and she's beautiful. And she would, for some reason, I don't know, I saw there was a bunch of text messages that there was a bunch of girls, but there was particular ones that bothered me, like his neighbor. Apparently they were watching a movie together and something happened and she didn't feel comfortable with him anymore. And for who knows what, because the messages were deleted, but there was like a few new ones. And she would always say, leave me alone, and he would always be like, but I love you. And he never said that to me, really. Like, he used to, like, the first few months of, like, dating me, or whatever we were. There's some things that he said that really, really messed me up. He said, not allegedly, he said one day when he was drunk that he doesn't want me to be with him publicly because he's embarrassed of me, because his friends say that I'm dumb. I don't think of myself as dumb. I think of myself as average, I guess. Maybe more. I own my own business. What does his friends and he have? Nothing. And whenever he was drunk, he would come over and he would just be so mean to me. There were times where he would come to my home drunk, and he would do things to me and I would say no, and he would use his strength against me and he would do them anyways, kind of stuff. And I didn't know how to react. I feel like that's not normal. That's not whatever we were that's not what's supposed to be. I'm always still scared that he might try to come over and do something, because he's very sexual and it's all he's ever wanted. He used to tell me, like, he only, like, I'll be like, do you want me? And he'd be like, for sex. And I thought that's pretty fucked up, I guess. There were times where when it happens, he would purposely hurt me during the process, and I would say things like ow, or like actually cry, and I feel like he liked that for some reason. I don't know why, but it's so weird. And he's just, his family seems pretty nice, and that I know of. They probably talk behind my back because whatever he says to them, I guess. But his mom would always say, like, I love you, and hug him, and he would be kind of rude, and she would call him and he would hang up, and I'd be like, you can talk to her, like, because we'd be hanging out, and he'd be like, no, I'm good. So I thought that was pretty messed up of him. I honestly don't know if I could get into another relationship after everything. I want to eventually like settle down and get into a relationship. It's what I've wanted for like since high school. I've always wanted to just like, I really want a family one day, but I feel like every guy I like end up with is just the worst and always trying to change me, telling me I can't do something, trying to control me, manipulate me, and that's not what you can't, that's not what I'm gonna take. If someone tells me I can't do something, I will tell them, you don't own me. I will do whatever I want to like an extent. Like if they say I can't wear something, that's fucked up. If they say I can't sleep with someone, that's normal. But to like say I can't wear something, that is not okay. That is so controlling and that's toxic too, I feel. Saying I can't post certain pictures, especially when it's my job. I just don't get. I really do want a relationship, but not now. I just want to go out there, meet people, and figure out what I specifically want and what I should do with myself. And there was like other situations, there's so much. I have like a really bad memory, but I remember his brother had a wedding, Joe, and I was Daniel's date, and something happened, and he would always just want to argue, and it was so stressful, and it felt so uncomfortable. He just wanted to argue every like single time. I'm not the most social person. I'm pretty shy, and he would be upset because I'm not socializing as much as I probably should with a family I really don't know that well. He would always, there's one more thing I'll tell you that he did, stuff that was like should have been red flags right away, should have made me like just end it. I've tried to end it so much in the past, but he would say like no, and I didn't know what to do. But he always tried to have anal with me. Like he would always try to like do stuff and I would say no, I'd cry, and he would do things anyways. He would try to like eat ass and I'd be like no, 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 and he one time forced me to, and I cried a lot. I'm just glad it's over, and that's all the things that I feel comfortable saying. The other stuff I don't think I really should. I feel like it wouldn't be okay to say publicly, but just know there was other things and I should have left a long time ago, and I did try to. I tried to leave him, but he would always say no, and that fucked me up. But that's all I'm gonna say for this video. But thanks for watching if you lasted this long. Sorry if this is a little too personal, but I'm just finally happy I can get this off my chest and finally move on and hopefully make more videos now that I can get over this situation that just happened. Thanks for watching. Bye.